Sunset, baby. Power Monday, baby. Yeah. Philadelphia Eagles, baby. I feel better, but my voice is struggling. So I'm gonna have to take it easy tonight, but yeah. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit the like. Yeah. Let's see who we rocking with. Who's that? Leanna Aguilar? Is that what that says? Wait. Let me get it right. What we got? Yeah, it is Leanna Aguilar. Jackson likes Roblox. What's up? Kenneth Rizzo. T. Carey Wright, morning, noon, and night. It's always great to have my peoples going directly into your site. Hector Moya, what's good? Thanks for coming through, y'all. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So tonight on the Daily Go Gettemism show, we are talking about the way you can tell that they can fight. The way that you can tell that somebody can fight. Now, hold on, because we're not necessarily talking about your pugilistic style. Although we can include that too. But when I talk about somebody being able to fight, I'm really talking about somebody that you know has been through a whole lot of stuff and you can see it in their face. You can feel the energy of their experience. You can tell that they have been battle tested. You can tell that they are built for tough. You can tell that this is not somebody to take lightly. You can tell that this is somebody who will defend themselves and probably defend other people that they care about and that they love, and they might do it without hesitation. Hopefully, they don't do it to you. So that's what we're talking about tonight. When you can tell that they can fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's a funny thing because metaphorically, this is the kind of person that jobs hire. Jobs hire you because they know that when you get put in pressure situations, that you will persevere, that you won't crack under pressure, that you won't just, fold or get scared or run away or not complete the objective or the mission or just quit the job. That's why they check your references to see if you've ever been effective at any of the other jobs that you worked on. So when we say, when you can tell that they can fight, we're talking about your aunties, your uncles. We're talking about your cousins. We're talking about your neighbors. We're talking about your classmates. We're talking about your friends. We're talking about your brothers and your sisters. We're talking about people who you don't even know, strangers on the street. Have you ever gotten close to somebody like a stranger on the street that you didn't really know, but you can tell like, yo, something tells me that this person ain't nobody to mess with. Not necessarily because they will hurt you, but you can tell like they are not the one. And it's not normally because they're talking a lot. It's normally because they're not talking. But you can see them peeping the whole scene like. Buana Haguski, what's good? My brother, and Coffee Cats, what's good? You say you like this shirt, man? I appreciate that. I appreciate you, my dude. TK Wright says you can see crazy in someone's eyes. You really can. That's not a joke. You really can. Like sometimes you can see it in a person's eyes. Like, yo, this person has been somewhere. You can almost tell. You can tell if a person has traveled or if they've just been, locked in a 6 block radius type of situation. You can tell when they've talked to some other people, been some places. Have you ever had somebody surprise you that they can speak another language? And you never would have thought that by looking at them? When you start to read people and you start to see, but when we say that you can tell that they can fight, we're talking about you can tell that they can physically fight. And we're also talking about when you can tell that they will defend themselves or they will fight for what's right or they will fight for whatever justice that they have going on with them, or they will try as hard as anybody else. Their persistence may be A1. Like they ain't playing around. They ain't playing. They ain't playing. They ain't playing. They ain't. They ain't playing around. They ain't playing around. They ain't playing around. Yo. Crash, what's good? All right, I'm gonna get this hardware out of the way, y'all. And let's go ahead and have this conversation. In the meantime, in between time, please just do me one little solid. Please hit that like button. Please hit the like button and everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. Things will start to fall in line. Sun always shine. Please hit that like button, y'all. Hit the like button. And let's go ahead and talk about what we need to talk about tonight. How you can tell that they can fight. You can tell. Like this person has obviously been in a rumble before. This person here, I mean, even though it's very stereotypical, you can always tell when somebody has done a lot of time in jail. And you can tell if they had a rough time in there or if they was doing all right. JJ, what's good? You can tell when a person has been in jail, and you can tell if they've been in some rumbles while they were in there. And you can kind of tell if they got through them. No $150 slash on they cheek. You know what I'm saying? Like it looked like you was locked up for some years, but you made the best of it. You may have gone in a little nervous, but it looked like you turned out okay. It looks like it. Looks like it. What up, Tamika Macklin? I hope that's the way you say your name. And my people's Jeff Sprayberry, what's good? It's good to see you, my dude. Always. Or is that, wait a minute. I'm talking about Tamika. I don't know. I don't think that's the way you say. Tamiyake? Listen, charge it to my head, not my heart. Charge it to my head, not my heart. I hate to butcher up people's names. It could be Tamik. Tamiyake. I think I got your last name right. Macklin. That's not hard. Buana says, I can tell if a dude been to jail when he breaks out of those prison burpees. When he breaks out in those prison burpees. You know, some people, I've known people who went to jail and they did not work out. Okay. Tamiyake says, that's how you say my name. It's okay. You said that's how you say my name, or that's not how you say my name? Which one is it? You said it's okay if you get it wrong. I don't think that's okay. You read Tamika? TK, right? I don't know. It's close. It's close. It's close. But nonetheless, I mean, you know, she might be of African descent or something like that. You know, I just want to get it right. That's all. That's all. That's all. So, yeah, how you can tell if a person can fight. Like, you can tell if a person is going to stand up for themselves or if they're going to defend other people. Or, you can kind of tell if somebody has what it takes to knock somebody out or not. And you can kind of tell that, like, they might have skills, but they ain't got no muscle mass. So, they're gonna have to be like Sugar Ray Leonard with it. And speaking of Sugar Ray Leonard, if you listen to a lot of people talk, you would think Sugar Ray Leonard didn't have no power in his punches or anything like that. And that wasn't true. They didn't call him Sugar Ray for nothing. He was stinging cats. He was stinging cats with those hands. I mean, he scored knockouts. But he was, they always tried to put him up as the underdog. As Tommy Hearns how much of an underdog he was. Even Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler died being so pissed off for losing against Sugar Ray Leonard. But I mean, Sugar Ray was good. He was good. But you can with a boxer, a trained boxer, I ain't talking about no golden gloves, I ain't talking about no amateur. But even with amateurs, you can tell. You can tell that they can rumble. But what kind of fighting are we talking about? What kind of fighting are we talking about? We talking about fighting for a cause or fighting physically? But we're talking about both. And we're going to talk about how you can tell that a person can do one or the other or both. One or the other or both. For all my regulars, man, please excuse my voice. I told you I was sick yesterday. I'm actually well today, but my voice ain't. My voice is like, listen, boss, we sick. I'm like, no, we're not. Yes, we is. The voice says, yes, we are. We are not well. Stop lying to the people. Hit the like button, y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Just go ahead and tap that thing. Like, mush it, mash it. Tap that screen. Tap that screen. All right. JJ says, they are usually a little reserved or quiet around people they don't know very well. You know when your old heads used to say, yo, be careful about with the quiet ones. The quiet ones are the ones you got to watch out for. They wasn't playing. Because when people are quiet, you don't know what they are observing. You don't know what they're planning in their heads. You don't know how they sizing you up. With the people that are yelling and screaming and always talking about what they can do and where they're going to, some people are gassed by that. But it's a little harder for them to deliver. But those little quiet ones, I hate to use this analogy, but who's ever known a serial killer that was running around here talking about how many bodies they got? Meanwhile, they in double digits. They out here doing the devil's work. They are eliminating problems. But anyway, TK Rice says, how you get sick? You out here in shorts? You know what? I'm not even going to entertain that question. I'm not even going to entertain that question. All I know is that you got to stay away from germy people. Germy. You're like, yo, Jeremy, he got sick from Jeremy. No, germ. Germ. Germs. TK Wright says, fighting isn't always physical. That's exactly right. Jeff says, remember Harlem Nights? Don't take this ass whooping personally. Facts. JJ says, boxers tend to carry themselves with a certain posture. They frequently carry their arms a little differently. That's a fact. That's an actual fact. And their shoulders are normally poised a certain kind of way too. Squaring up a lot. It's their training. TK Ray says, seriously, sometimes you can tell someone can fight by how hard they push back against injustices. That's true. That's true. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How you can tell that somebody can fight. And, you know, if you've ever misjudged somebody that you thought was a pipsqueak, that you thought was a shrinking violet, that you thought was soft, that you thought was a scaredy cat, that you thought was a punk, that you thought, you know, wouldn't stand up for themselves. And then you saw like, whoa, what the hell? Oh, wait. We miscalculated this one. We gotta, wait a minute. We gotta go back to the drawing board and get these equations right. Because this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. Let me get my seat. It's time for us to have this convo. It's time for us to have a conversation, baby. So let's go ahead. Let's get busy. The way you can tell if they can fight. The way you can tell if they can fight. You know, when you think that fighting is only a physical thing, you know, you're going to miss out on a lot when it comes to life. You know, when we talk about people fighting, I mean, if you think about the way that the world is going today, just in the United States, look at the political atmosphere. There's a whole lot of fighting going on out here. Whether you are on this side or that side, whether you think that you're on the side of right or the side of wrong, you see people out here getting active. They are getting active, you know? And one thing that I had to learn from my old head, like when my dad was dying in 2021, because he passed in 2021, and to me, he looked like he wasn't fighting for his life. He had cancer. He didn't want to go through chemo. He went through some rounds of radiation. He wasn't feeling it. And he didn't really think that it was working, and he wasn't willing to do it any longer. And to me, it looked like he was giving up. And I talked to my old head about it. I was like, you know, my dad, you know, I don't know what's going on. He just gonna let himself pass and blah, 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 blah. And my old head told me, he said, yo, Omar, there are different ways to fight. And your dad is fighting his way. He said, you may not understand it, but you're not inside of his body and you're not feeling what you're feeling. Well, I mean, you're not feeling what he's feeling. So he may be fighting a different battle than you could never understand because you're not there. And hopefully you won't be where he is ever. Or if you are, hopefully it's not until you're very old. But when he said that, it straightened me out a lot. It did. It straightened me out a lot. He enlightened me. I wasn't really ready for that, but I needed to hear it. I badly needed to hear that. And I received that message. You know what I'm saying? So it got me to thinking back in 2021. Yeah, what is fighting for your life exactly? What is that? Because we talk about it. We talk about it, and we talk about it in different terms depending on who we are and what our experiences are. What up, Oakland? What's good? But think about it. We was talking about jail a few minutes ago, right? Well, you know how some people are on death row, and some people are doing life sentences in jail. And people say that they are fighting for their life in court before they get sentenced, convicted and sentenced. And when they are serving out their sentence, they say that they are, are battling for their life in jail. And I was like, yeah, court cases. That's another way to fight. They call it that. Lawyers, attorneys, they say, we'll fight for you. Now, whether you agree with them or not, that's a whole nother story. But there are so many different ways to fight. And that's one that we may overlook. So it's time for us to look at what fighting means to us. What does fighting mean to us? What does it look like? What does a fighter mean to us? Some of y'all have children. And you might recognize the fight in your children. Yeah. What?
You have a call from.
Caller from a place called Now. What's good? Welcome to the Daily Go Getimism Show. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind tonight on this Power Monday?
Let me get out this lifestyle party real fast and spray this phone down because I don't have time for your shenanigans or your germs.
Oh, God, here you go. I mean, that means you got a smartphone that you should throw away with the quickness.
Yeah.
Because if you can get a cold through a phone, I don't even want to talk on that shit.
If your germs are just strong, I don't have time for them.
I know, right? And this is the aftermath. I'm telling you, I feel great. I just don't sound like it.
But I know you drink your warm tea and honey and all the things.
That's right. I got my cold and ream. I'm about to get busy.
What's up, family? What's up, chat? And when you speak about this fight, this right here is an example, fighting for your life when it comes to your health. Like, you drink your drink every time we see you on camera. That is a fight for your health. People don't realize it, but it is, because that's always a struggle, especially the older we get. Some of the things that we could bypass easy when we were younger no longer exist. And it is a fight when you get older. We've discussed on here many times about just waking up and then it feels like you've been in a fight because you're like, now why does this hurt? Now I did was sleep. Went to bed and it wasn't hurting, but now I can't even move. I'm stiff. What the hell is happening?
Mm-hmm.
That our health, we fight for our health on a regular basis. At least we should be. And it's not an easy fight at all, especially when we think in terms of cancer and then all the ailments that come as we live long enough in this space. So that in and of itself is a fight. And let's couple that with all of the bad things humans have put into this space that increase the fight and make us feel like we're on the losing end. And that's from our food, our air quality, the water we drink, all these things. So that's a consistent fight that it feels like we never win, but that's not one you give up on at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, there may be so many battles, so many wars that you may be involved in on a regular basis that your fighting skills may be impeccable. But you already know what you can do. You know what you're capable of. But when you discover the fight in somebody else, sometimes it can really surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
It can really, really surprise you. You may not have thought somebody was a punk, but you may not have recognized, you know, what they bring to the table in certain ways. And we're really talking about their tenacity. We're talking about their vigor. We're talking about their zeal. We're talking about their passion. You know what I mean? Like you see somebody, like you might meet them at work or something like that, or a club or organization or something that you're involved in, and they may really capture your attention because you may not have really understood how serious they were about something. And that's whether it's injustice or whether it's something that they have contributed to that they refuse to get jerked out of. You know, so watching a person fight can be an interesting thing.
Oh, it can be a heartbreaking thing too. You know, it's no secret. My son is battling with whatever has him locked in, and we just don't know how to break him from it. So watching him go through a mental battle it's very tough and heartbreaking, and it's a struggle for a parent, of course, to see their child go through so much anguish and pain and stress. But as his mother, I'm going to always fight for him if he's 3, 13, 30, and 3,000. You know, I'm always going to fight for him and advocate for his well-being.
Mm-hmm.
But watching him deal with it, it just seems like a decline sometimes that I wonder if I'm armored with the right tools often, because I don't think I am, because I'm his parent, because I'm his mother. So I'm always looking in terms of I'm his mother, I'm his parent, I know best. And I tend to lean towards the you got this, being supportive. You got this, you can fight this, you can battle this. When some days he's like, I can't. I don't know what's wrong. I can't fight it. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, yes, you do. You did this. Look at all the major things you've accomplished. Like you've been around this world and you're only in your early 30s.
Mm.
You know, lived in country. You went and lived in shanties in Haiti with nothing. And no one else can say they've done this. They're not adults who've done that. They've been to Haiti, but they've, been in resorts. You went and stayed in a shanty and survived, and you didn't even get the right vaccinations and stuff when you went over there. You just was like, I'm going, and went and didn't do anything that was suggested for you to do. And you've, ridden this skateboard across country. That's, a feat that many can't attest to. And you didn't do any of it for fame. You just did it because I need to go do something positive. But he doesn't see that. He doesn't understand it for whatever reason. Now he does it. He used to, but now he doesn't. And so watching him in this battle, it is very tough. But it's not a fight I'm willing to give up.
Yeah.
Because there are moments when he has clarity and he's good and he can do all kinds of things, but it's still me watching a decline from my kid who did all these amazing things and drove a truck and worked for big name companies and was a philanthropist and did all this stuff, to now this man-child who is just struggling every day to function, as simple as making a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So,
And I think with a parent, they're always, first of all, peace to you for even sharing that experience. That's number one out the gate. Second of all, there comes a time in every parent's life where they're going to have to fight for their children. And it's funny because I've seen parents talk about fighting for their children, and they talk about physically fighting for their parents. I mean, physically fighting for their children. They was ratchet as hell. But I guess for that moment, they understood that assignment, even when the assignment was wrong. So, but fighting for your children is nothing but advocacy. And I don't mean nothing but, I'm just trying to relate another another synonym for fighting. But advocacy. Like who doesn't have children where they tried to get their children in a better school than what was available? There comes a time when you have to do that, or get them in some kind of program that you think that they may do well in or excel in, or it may be some exclusive type of shit. And you had to try to pull some strings. That's a fight.
Remember the mother who went to jail for that. Remember the mother who went to jail. They arrested her and put her in jail for trying to put her child in a better academic situation. They put her in jail for that.
Yeah, she had to use a different address so a child could go to a better school. Like, who the fuck thinks that's wrong? Like, you don't live around here. You can't go to this school. Like,
the
damn.
Same people who think people should be hungry, those are the same people who think that's wrong.
Word. So yeah, when you have to advocate for your child, when you have to fight for your child to get into something, and that brings out a lot in you that you may not have known was there. Like, you're willing to get up off your ass and get on the phone or go confront somebody about something. But when you really have to go through a process and you have to actually take your time in order to get it done, it teaches you a lot about yourself. It's a point of self-discovery that changes things, because after you do that for a child, you realize that you're going to have to teach them how to do the same thing. And, getting some kids on board ain't always easy. You know what I mean? We all hope that what we instill in our children will come out in a good way someday. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. It's almost like a slot machine. Sometimes you might hit. Sometimes you might not get nothing, but maybe you get enough coins to keep playing. But
well, I have two versions of that. Like you said, there are parents who are willing to physically fight for their kids. At one time, I was that parent. I mean, I still am. But at one time, I remember, and I thank God there were men present, that he had uncles, I have siblings, brothers, cousins, and so forth. So I remember because my kid is my only kid. And he was the first grandchild, the first great-grandchild, the first great-great-great-nephew, the first great-nephew, the first nephew. He was the first in a lot of things. So that meant he had a lot of stuff, because the relatives seemed to be in competition. Who would give him the best Christmas? Who would give him the best birthday? All the things. And so he had a lot more than some of the other kids in the apartments we lived in. And it's not because I had a bunch of money and was spoiling him. It's just because he had a tight family unit from both sides. And so he always had 3 boxes, 3 this or 2 that or 4 of whatever it is. He just always had multiple. And I remember it was 3 boys who wanted to jump my son. And as a parent, I don't give a damn. I fight kids for mine. So I'm hyped. Let me go out here and whoop these little boys and tell them to send their mom and their daddy, blah, blah, blah. But the men around me was like, you can't do that. You have to let him go fight his own battles. And in my head, I'm like, 3 little kids want to jump my son. One of them is twice his size. Are you fucking insane? And they're like, just let him go handle it. Surprisingly, he wouldn't handle it. And then his mother came and knocked on my door with her husband, saying my son and his friends attacked their children and they're going to sue because now they have to take their child to the hospital.
He broke their
And
jaw?
I'm like, huh?
He broke their jaw?
He used his skateboard to beat the shit out of all three of them.
Oh, okay. He won that fight.
And so I had to bring my kid out and be like, no, this is mine right here, and there are no other children here, just him. And they looking silly, but it's like, why are your kids trying to jump my boy? You know? So that's my example of physically wanting to get involved, but thank God, there were other people around because I could probably be in jail for hitting somebody's kid. But now I work literally 80 plus hours a week because my goal is to pay off this house and renovate it for the sake of my son.
Mm-hmm.
In case he needs it, even though he's in this great relationship and he and his girlfriend have been together since high school, and he was always supportive of her, and now in me she supports him, and I'm so grateful for it. But just in case, because it's a lot on her too, and I can understand if she just one day feels like, I can't do this anymore. I get it. I would never hold it against her, but I need to be prepared just in case. So now the fight is different. Now I am exhausted and tired because I'm putting in every effort I can to be prepared just in case. And just in case something happens to me, I need him to be able to provide for himself in some kind of way where maybe mentally he's not able to do what he's always done for 30 plus years, and now he can't. So that fight, there are two types of fights when it comes to parenting, in my opinion. Like I always say, parenting is the removal of all senses. And no, it's not always the greatest thing to physically want to fight for your kids. But as a parent, how can you not? We see it all the time. We see parents who go to jail for their kids, like the mom. Somebody touched her son, and she took a bat and beat the hell out of him. Mm-hmm. She went to jail. She shouldn't have. Because if I was on the jury, she wouldn't have spent a day. But she did, because she beat the shit out of that man and put him within an inch of his life. And he better be grateful that she didn't take his life. But as a parent, that's what you do for your kids. You defend your kids at all costs. So that's all I want to say on that.
Yeah, you do. And there comes a time when you might have to fight for your kids in some kind of way, even if it's academic, even if it's in the justice system, even if it's for some type of for some type of activity, or extracurricular or whatever. The time is going to come. I work in a hospital, so I see people fight for their lives all the time, every day, and I see people lose that fight, if that's what you want to call it. I don't normally like to look at it that way because we all got to go. You know what I mean? We all got to go. But when you see, people with all kinds of tubes hooked up to them and oxygen tanks and, people missing limbs and blind because of diabetes, missing limbs and blind because of diabetes. And you see the choices that people have made in the fights that they have waged. But I don't care how much damage you have done to yourself. You owe it to yourself to fight for your life. And I'm going to respect that under any situation or circumstances. And there's never, in my opinion, it's never too late to fight for your life. As long as you're still living. You know what I mean? As long as you're still living, you can and probably should fight for your life. So people fighting for their lives, for their physical lives or their health in a hospital, people fighting for their life or their freedom in jail. We have a dude who is serving a 30-year sentence that frequents this show when he can. You know, and he's been following this show since 2014, 2015, some shit like that. And he's still trying to get released. He was locked up unjustifiably, and you know what I mean? He's been fighting for his freedom for 10 years that I've known him. And you know, I really hope I mean, honestly, he's getting close to maxing out, which is crazy. But it be like that, you know, and things like that can happen to anybody. But it happened to him. So I know he knows how to fight, even though I've never stood in front of him. But seeing him fight for his freedom, for justice, and get other people involved and advocate for him, and you know, try to get an appeal for him, and you know, that's a hell of a fight right there. And I can tell that he's built for it. This is real shit. It's crazy. I have a lot of experience with people fighting for their sobriety. And it ain't as easy for some as it is for others.
It's not. You know, one of these attorneys' clients I spoke with earlier, his parents called and they had just done everything to get their son out of jail, and he was supposed to go into a program. And he refused to go into the program once he was released. And I just heard the pain in his parents' voices. And that was a hard conversation I had to have with him about, you know, it is a struggle. And sometimes it's more of a struggle or a fight or a battle than we even realize, especially someone who's not walking in their footsteps. I think I'm so grateful that I've never had the desire to use drugs, you know, and I can't understand what that looks like or what that feels like in their shoes. Mm-hmm. But I've seen the face of it, and I've heard the family members on the outside looking in, and how painful it is. But I've dealt with people who have had to deal with that, who go through that, and listen to their side of it. And man, thank God I've never had to deal with that struggle. I can't imagine what that's like. But we all, the majority of us have some type of addiction and don't even realize what it is an addiction. But some of those drug addictions, God, I've heard someone say, I just want to wake up and not have this feeling. I just want this feeling to go away, to the point where I'd rather lose my life than keep feeling like this. And I'm like, man, and we make it sound so easy. It's so easy. All you gotta do is go through a program. All you gotta do is take this Narcan. All you have to do is clean yourself up. But I don't think it's all you gotta do. Like people who smoke cigarettes and just seem like they can't stop smoking cigarettes, and they go through patches and shots and gum and all this stuff, and they can't break from that nicotine. Like, I would never understand that, because I'm like, you do know you stink, don't you? But something about it they can't stop, and that is an addiction. And it's chemicals. We know it's chemicals that cause that. And if you already have an imbalance, well, then you add to it. So that drug addiction or alcohol addiction or nicotine addiction, those are battles that I would never understand. But I understand the people who are saying it's not an easy one. So I try to train myself not to have that negative look, like all they have to do is, when the reality is, no, it's more than just all they have to do.
Yeah. It's people who have never, had a substance abuse problem, it's hard for them to really fathom, how that works. People who have had a drinking problem understand how drug problems work because they're really both drugs. But people who have never been through that, people who don't drink or who don't smoke or who don't, pop pills, sniff, whatever, they don't understand how the habit kicks in, and how it continues. They don't get it, and that's okay if they don't get it. But when you try to oversimplify a concept as deep as addiction is, it can cause a communication problem. But when a person is trying to get sober and they're serious about it, they're fighting for their health, physical and mental. Because addiction to drugs is a mental disease. For most drugs, unless you're talking about hard narcotics, your body doesn't need that. And most drugs that people take aren't hard narcotics. I'm talking about real narcotics, not what falls under what the cops say. So yeah, you're literally fighting for your health. And most people who try to get sober really try to fight it because they get tired of, like, an addiction is nightmarish, and it symbolizes loss of control of your life. One of the things that they make you profess to and admit when you go into rehab is that you have to profess that your life is spiraled out of control. You lost control of your life because of the drugs. If you don't want to admit that, then you cannot enter the program because it's like you're in denial, and that's not going to work. It's not going to work at all, and they probably are going to kick you out of the program because you'll be toxifying other people who are trying to get clean. Because one of the key principles is to stop making excuses for your condition and own up to it. Did nobody make you get high? And certainly nobody kept you getting high. Even if they did, they didn't. Because you have a choice. And you made your choice. So it's crazy.
But I can imagine that's a tough pill to swallow. Just the thought of not having control of your life in and of itself is a nightmare on any level. Anyone who's in jail, anyone who is trapped in a domestic kind of abusive relationship, anyone who's caught an addiction to not have control of your life, your space, what belongs to you, is a hard pill to swallow. So I imagine that makes that fight even harder when they have to do that, when they have to admit that, when they have to face that reality in the fight for their lives, in the fight for their health. I imagine that just makes it, God, I couldn't imagine not having control myself of my life. And sometimes it feels like I don't work so much, but to have something that controls me to the point where I can't function in a normal situation, that to admit that is probably tougher for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is. Because, deep down in your heart, you want it to be somebody else's fault. Your parents for not raising you right. Or your parents for getting you started on drugs because maybe they were on drugs. So because they didn't control themselves, they passed down to you. They passed the addiction gene down to you. No. The same way, in order for them to get clean, they had to own up to what they did. You have to do the same. And this is part of the fight for your fight for your sobriety, fight for your health, fight for your mental health. This is a big part of it. Once you accept that you have played a role in everything that happens to you, you start to free yourself. But it's so hard for most people to do. But you can't change your ways trying to stay the same way at the same time. And so many people do that. Now that's a fight, a straight losing battle. Like I want everything to change, and I don't want to change anything at the same time. And you
good luck with that.
Hey, look, you've seen people do it. You ever known somebody that was so deep into a relationship that all they really wanted was the person to start acting right, knowing damn well that person don't do that. They don't act right. They don't shape up. They don't do well. They don't. They're not considerate of others. They don't give a fuck. They don't love you the way that you love them. You know, that's a personal struggle, and it's definitely a fight. And I've seen people fight that way, and they fought tooth and nail at that. I get it, you know, but you know, you ever been at a job and somebody at the job is always bitching about how much money they make, and they always talking about how they would work harder at the job if the job would pay them more money, not realizing that no jobs pay you more money in anticipation that you'll work harder. You got to work hard first, and then they might pay you more money. But it sure ain't going in reverse, so you can fight that battle all you want. You're going to lose day in and day out, day in and day out. But I understand the fight, and it goes the way it goes.
It's a never-ending circle. That's the thing about it, Salute, especially if you're in a shitty job.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, you know, you think that the job is just going to improve, and you're not. Well, something tells me that there's some lessons that you're going to learn the hard way. But a fight is a fight. A fight is a fight, and there comes a time in all of our lives where we have to fight hard. So we're talking about the way you can tell if they can fight or not. Let me ask you this. When was the last time that the way that somebody fought surprised you? Whether you... Yeah, let's just say that.
Okay, dear, I crossed into this shit last night.
Oh, God. All right.
I mean, was that a fight or just a give in? I don't know, but that surprised me. Yeah, that's the last time
that actually didn't surprise me. Only thing that surprised me about the motherfuckers last night was that they didn't give up earlier, because I really thought they would have thrown in the towel way before. Because you ain't gonna tell me that all of them was on board. No way.
That's the one that was right there. That's the last fight that surprised me, because I was like, wow, 8? Right now, after everything that has happened so far, today you decide this? Today, right now, this moment? Oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the last one. That surprised me.
Well, I was really talking about, they didn't fight. So I was kind of talking about somebody who actually did fight. Because it could have been somebody that you didn't think would really fight with the passion that they fought with. And I was thinking about somebody who actually...
Well, you know, I have an associate who sometimes she says things and I'm like, are you just saying words to say them because you can't believe what you're saying? Like her thing is always, I'm not going to worry about it. God got me. The Holy Spirit told me XYZ, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm good. That's her constant phrases all the time, no matter what the situation is. That's why I'm like, girl, okay. But now that she's finding herself with more and more health issues, the conversation is a little different. Now it's less God got me and more, hey, what should I use for? What should I drink? Can I naturally do XYZ? And I'm always surprised by that because again, this is a person for the longest time, no matter what you said to her, hers was God got me. The Holy Spirit got me. That kind of thing. But now she's really focused on how she can improve her health or resolve her issues in a more natural way. And now it's like she's fighting for her health after she admittedly says, you know, I was laying in the bed eating bonbons with my feet kicked up. Or I don't drink a lot of water. I hate drinking water. I have to have something in my water. Or, okay, so it has bad chemicals in it, but everything we eat is bad, so we just got to eat it and pray on it. That's why I pray on it first. And then I just go on to eat what I'm going to eat because everything is bad for us. That's the person who said these things at first, but now she's in this fight and she's trying to fight for her health. She's trying to advocate for her health and do something different. And I'm always like, now you're 60 plus and now you're ready. Now you want to listen.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's never too late to fight for your life.
No, it's not.
But you know, after you have inflicted considerable damage on yourself, you're gonna have to understand that the fight that you have entered is gonna be a tough one. It ain't gonna be no knock. You ain't gonna score no quick knockouts on this one. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, it's funny how minds can change when things don't go the way that people think that they're gonna go or think that it's gonna go. So maybe she realized that God is compelling her to go ahead and do something for herself. So maybe God do have her. He just has her in a different way than she was talking about before.
He put her in a headlock and said, let me show you. Let me show you what happens when you're not listening, since you say I'm always talking to you. Now listen to this. That's what it seems like to me.
Well, I'll tell you this, Kim. If pain and or fear don't make you fight, nothing will.
Oh, right.
If pain,
that's absolutely true. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you will just sit around and let yourself ache and hurt and be in pain, okay. If you know, it's normally the thing that acts as the catalyst for positive change. What up, Papucio? What's good? My people sick of salad all up in the house. Was good. So yeah, pain and fear. Like, yo, if that don't make you start acting a little different, then it's pretty much a wrap. This motherfucker.
There's your alien.
You know, this motherfucker tripping. And I mean,
Tom with it too, like, anyway. I'm here.
Lately, she been on some bullshit. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that got into this motherfucker, boy. She been wilding.
Psychopath alias.
Something
Just
is.
random. Because that was random.
I'll be trying to look in her eyes like, what the hell is going on in there? You know what I'm saying? That shit.
Speaking of fights, so my best guy friend, who I don't know if it's his new wife, I don't know, he's just such a different person now that I'm like, as long as I've known you, who have I fucking known? Because who the hell are you now? Did you say some of the weirdest stuff? And we recently had a blowout and had to take some time away, not talk to each other, and we start talking again. And I struggle. I struggle with us being okay because I don't know who he is anymore. And I was talking to our other friend, and I was like, do you think he's going through some kind of mental breakdown or something with this new wife? Because he says things that I'm like, you can't believe what you're saying. An example is he called me over the weekend and we were talking about animals, and he said, by the way, we've always been taught that cats are felines and are cousins to big cats, lions, tigers, a lot. And he's like, but he heard somebody say that big cats have wide circular eyes and only domesticated cats have slanted eyes. So are they really related? Because the only other animals that have slanted eyes are snakes. And it turned into an argument because he wanted to solidify that domesticated cats are more related to snakes because of their eyes. And it was this blowout, and I'm like, am I the crazy one here? Because I must have woke up and did mess and didn't realize it, because what you're saying doesn't make any sense at all. Or did you start doing crack? Because what the hell are you saying? it really was this blown out battle with this man over the stupidest thing. And I'm like, it doesn't even make sense what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk to you no more.
I overstand. I get it.
I love you, Sam, but I can't talk to you no more. This is dumb. What you're saying is dumb. How could they have anything in common? What? So, yeah. So now battle is if I want to talk to him anymore for a while. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Being stupid and still trying to get your point across, like, yeah.
And then I called him stupid, and I don't want to apologize for it too. Like he said, you gotta apologize. You can't call people stupid. So I'm like, he was stupid because he said stupid stuff. Anyway. So let's talk about the other fight, because I'm not a physical fighter, not anymore. I was in my youth, and I cried at the end of it because I'm like, I didn't want to get into a fight. I didn't want to make you bleed, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I fight and cry. So, and now I'm just not going to get in a physical fight with you. I'm going to let you do and say what you want to do, and then I'm going to prepare. And my preparation is not right, so let's just not even do it. However, I will fight for injustice. I'm going to always fight for the rights of being Black and existing in this space. I'm always going to fight for the truth versus the lies and signs. I'm always going to fight for my right as a woman and my rights in this space as a woman. Um, and what it means to be a woman, what it means to be female. Like I said, I don't give a damn what you want to do in your space, but you can't impede on what is naturally me and think I'm just going to sit back and allow it. So there's that. And it sometimes it comes off as I'm being a bully or being mean when it comes to that, or not respecting another person's rights to say what they want. And that's not the case. The case is I know what it means to be me, and you can never pretend to be. You could put on a costume, but it doesn't make you me.
Right.
You could put on, but it doesn't make you me. And sometimes my truth sounds ugly in the ears of those who don't want to face the reality of it.
Right.
And so that is a fight I'm going to always stand in. And I don't mean it to be harmful or disrespectful to anyone else, but let's lay these cards on the table, flip them over, and see which ones are true. I'm always going to carry the joker. I'm always going to carry that main card, the big joker that trumps every card on the table. I'm always going to carry it. And I'm sorry that it hurts your feelings because you hear it differently. But this is the fact. This is the reality of what it is. That's always a fight I'm going to stand in every day that I breathe. And it becomes ugly, unfortunately, but that's where we are.
Yep. Yeah. When was the last time somebody underestimated your fighting ability?
This week. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, one of these attorneys has a tendency to be arrogant because of their position, and that's fine. I respect you as long as you respect me. But what you can't do is get slick in the mouth with me and think I'm not going to match your energy. You can give it to me, I'm going to give it to you double. It's just that simple. And my version is different than yours. I don't have to use a bunch of words to hurt your feelings, but I will. So if you want to do it, let's do it. And I'm not going to apologize for it. That's the other side. I'm not going to apologize for what I say. So I had an attorney who felt comfortable saying the things she wanted to say, and I let her get it all out. And then I had to remind her she's the irresponsible person. And no, I don't have the degrees you have, and no, I don't have the title you have. But guess who would have hurt if they lose it? And it won't be me. And if we want to take it to the Bar Association, we can. And guess who's not going to have a problem? And that attorney felt some kind of way about the things I said and the way I laid it out, but it's the truth. And it was unexpected because then the conversation back to me was, Kimberly, no one expected you to say those things and act like that. We're kind of shocked. Are you? Because that sounds like a you problem.
Sounds like one.
Go ahead.
No, I said sounds like one. I was just co-signing it.
Because just because y'all sit around and kiss her ass doesn't mean I'm going to. Because at the end of the day, hey, I put my panties on one leg at a time the same way she does. And if she respects me, I'm going to respect her. If she disrespects me, well, game on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sometimes, when you got to let them know, you got to let them know. But sometimes people resent the way that you might fight or the fact that you will fight in the first place. Like a bully doesn't, they can't bully people who will fight them back. Is that a cat?
Yeah, that's my fur abuser.
Oh, okay. Like I know the strange sound, you know what I mean? They ain't coming from here. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, bullies They look for the easy fight. They look for the easy mark. They don't mess around with people who they know will fight them, who they know will fight back. So
Well, I never say anything back to her. I let her get away with it sometimes because I'm like, listen, today is tough enough. Let me get through this other stuff. These people who have real problems, because this is not a real problem. We all work remotely. Girl, I'm not in the office with you. Because if I was, I would just punch your ass and get on about my life and probably get arrested. I don't have time for this. However, right now in this space, we have people with bigger problems. We have people who are worried about ICE coming into their home or bothering their children to go into school. You have people who are worried about their children who have been arrested, falsely accused of something, and they're trying to get them out of jail. We have people who are calling with addictions, who are trying to just get a little bit of help without insurance. So we have people with bigger problems. But this was it. Like, I am stretched and stressed enough. You're not going to keep talking to me like I'm your Patsy. You're just not. Right. And I'm not going to keep ignoring it. So, and she is a bully. She bullies everyone. And I think it's because she's remotely, we work remotely or virtually. And so she feels like she can say whatever on the other side of the phone, on the other side of the screen. But yesterday, I'm like, bitch, this is not it. Not with me. You can do all them, but not me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, she is a bully who tries to pick her target.
Yeah. What would you say is the main way that your parents taught you how to fight?
My mother's way was harsh, to say the least. Harsh, to say the least. Like, my mother didn't believe in sugarcoating anything. Like, her conversation about the birds and bees made me fearful of anything to do with sex, kissing, nothing. It was always very direct. Even as a little girl, she didn't speak in soft terms. There was no birds and bees. It was, this is life, this is reality, this is bears and eagles. This is a hawk coming to snatch you up in the middle of the night. So there were no soft tones. So everything physically, mentally, intellectually was harsh. It was, you don't let anybody make you feel less than. You don't let anybody speak to you in these terms. You don't let anybody put their hands on you. It was very rough. My dad is a little softer, although he'll say the words, but when he gets angry, you can see it in him like, oh, I get my temperament from you, sir. It's not from this lady here. It's you. I got it from you. His is always a peaceful, make it peaceful first. Try to have an understanding before you react, because there are consequences when you react. However, when he gets mad, all that goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I think I benefit from both. I benefit from both. My mother prepared me for some things in life, in a sense. I appreciate the way she did bring that harshness. But of course, there were moments when it was like, this is not serving me in a good way, because my reaction was quick too often, especially when it came to don't touch me. That my reaction was, it kept me in a lot of trouble in school.
Okay.
But fortunately, I did have, aunts and uncles, godparents, and especially my grandparents and my grandmother. Since my grandfather transitioned at an early age, my grandmother, who added the rainbows and cotton candy clouds and marshmallows and prints on a horse, she added that layer of not so much of fight versus flight, but a little bit of space where the world didn't look so harsh and so bleak, where I didn't have to always fight, where no, I'm not bartering for this kind of peace, but I'm just not entertaining it. My
Mm-hmm.
grandmother was one who, hey, you can just walk away from it. You don't have to always respond, and you don't have to ask for it to come to an end. You can just walk away and do something different. So,
Yeah. You know, I think about when you know how you meet somebody, you can tell they've been through a whole lot of shit. Maybe,
mhm.
maybe had to raise themselves for the most part. You know what I mean? Probably lacked a lot, lacked real stability in their lives or whatever. You know, like, and sometimes you can see the pain so deep in their eyes that you could tell that they fought so long they just tired of fighting. You know what I mean? They looking for that situation where they can finally rest, or get comfortable, or chill out because they just tired of fighting. And they may be nowhere near the end of the fight that they're in, but you know, you could tell when they when the battleship has taken one or too many hits. It may not have sank, but it suffered damage. And
When you speak of that, the same person who taught me to fight for everything, it took me a long time to forgive her for not fighting when she was dealing with cancer. It took me a very long time to forgive her because I was so angry. Because I'm like, you taught me to fight everything, you didn't fight this, and you let it take you. And I stayed so mad at her for so long. Um,
yeah, I was mad at my dad for the same shit. Like,
mm. But
now you
then
want to
do
give up,
we?
but
It's different because when I start reading over, going through her things and trying to get stuff together, I start finding all these notebooks with letters she wrote to herself, things she wrote to my siblings and I, and just stuff she wrote to my son and my niece. Um, and I realized she was fighting a battle I hope to God I'd never understand, and that she didn't forgive up. I think it was a fight for her to make the decision she made to let go. It seems like she was fighting for all of us to appease our selfish desires.
yeah,
But it was a fight for her to decide on this day, I know the doctor is going to present me with this, and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to put my family through this anymore. I don't want to deal with this pain and suffering I'm hiding from them anymore.
yeah, yep. Uh, yeah, like I was saying in earlier in the show, my old head had to put me on like there are other ways to fight that you may not recognize, but you know when it's your turn to fight, when it's your time to fight, you'll fight the way that you see best, and you're gonna have to allow them to do the same thing. All right, um, let's let's do these. Let's take a look at the poll. Then we're gonna do these birthday shout outs and we getting up out of here. I gotta get some rest. I'm not feeling well. I gotta get fuck out of it. All right. So this is how we go do it. How do you know when a person has been through a lot in life? 56% said, I can see the pain in their eyes. Wow. So most of us use our intuitive powers. 19% says by the way they talk or keep quiet. Another 19% says when they are clingy or distant. And 7% says that they're either ruthless or reckless. Interesting. So we all have, there's some different ways that we can identify what we recognize as pain. Yeah, I can see that. And one thing is abundantly clear is that we don't all fight the same way for the same things. We all have our personal battles going on. We may all have our personal wars that are being raised and fought. But as long as you keep that warrior spirit in you, and you fight tooth and nail in any way that you can, the best way that you can, the best we can do is hope for a really good outcome. And I hope that most of us get that. Because, talking about how you can tell that somebody can fight, we're really talking about an acknowledgement of our intuitive powers. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about how we can recognize something. So we are on a different communication level than a lot of people might not understand. Not a lot of people may understand. All right. So we'll do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious November 11th, November 10th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box. Janae Dozier and her Gigi, Doreen Baker, and she's raising money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and also Lydia Chavo, Jennifer Durant, Joyce Campbell, Rosa Rodriguez, Joyce Glasgow, Monique Richardson, Tawana Sloan, my cousin Brittany Max Beeman, Karen Denise, Jackie Megiddo. Last but not least, I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious November 10th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out. Rock on and do the damn rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man, there are different ways to fight. There are different reasons to fight. The fight that you fight or the fight that you wage is all your own. Even if people become involved and they decide to fight for you or fight alongside you, there's probably a different vision of the war or the battle or the fight that you have than other people have who may be right there part of it. But just know that one day you may have the fight of your life on your hands. And you may not know how you're going to handle that fight. Sometimes we're better at training people to fight than actually fighting ourselves. And of course, I'm not talking about anything physical, but we have things that we have to do. And a lot of times those things are our fights. So peace to all of the people out there who have been arrested and charged unjustifiably. And shout out to all of my brothers and sisters in the struggle for our humanity. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Kim, you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, happy birthday today, getters. Peace, everybody. Stay safe. Be mindful of your surroundings. Be mindful of the things you do. Be mindful of everything that affects you. And stay strong in the fight. We're in this together, and that's for sure. We have a big fight that we're all in together, and if we could keep supporting each other, keep uplifting each other, then we got it. It feels like we don't sometimes, but we got it. We just got to keep the fight strong. That's it.
Sounds good to me. Evelyn.
And you keep fighting and get yourself together.
I'm together. My voice didn't start acting funny until tonight. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But Evelyn.
You know how that works.
I do. Look, this nighttime air is on some bullshit. But the Eagles won. So that's what matters. Evelyn Royston says, check to see if you're allergic to your kitty. I am absolutely allergic to my cat. I've been told I can't have any animals. I didn't listen. I'm fighting to keep one. So, yeah, I ain't got no business. I ain't got no business having no cat. I'm allergic to more things than I'm not. All right, anyway, yo, I appreciate y'all coming through. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow night with another Daily Go Gettemism show. So make sure y'all come on through. 2 a.m. in the morning Eastern Standard Time. I hope y'all enjoy listening to the show as much as I enjoy broadcasting it. And I will see y'all on the other side. Hit that like button though. And thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate that. And I'm going to do it now. So I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
Peace, family.
All right.